question.
Oh, Miss Hinton said we don't have to.
Study for it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I tried to find a video regarding my topic, but I couldn't. So could you have me later on?
Yeah.
In the YouTube.
Oh.
So my topic is schizophrenia. But I typed schizophrenia in dental office, dental treatment, but not video in YouTube.
Oh, there's no video. Okay.
I couldn't find.
Yeah.
It should be there, something.
Yeah, there could be something. If you look also on Google Video, maybe.
Google Video?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could try that too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is just the highlights I put there. Just some things to think that help you tell the difference.
Okay.
And then we'll go through this before we take the quiz.
Yeah.
Our young lady arrives. And then we will talk about them. There's a lot more odontogenic tumors than just what's on this list. She's only, probably 20 or more. And she just picked some of the more common ones.
Have you seen a lot of these in private practice?
Yes.
Quite a few.
No, quite a few. You don't see it. Odontogenic tumors aren't really common.
Oh.
You know,
It's
I
less
see.
than 10%.
You know, most of these things I've seen. Yes.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello.
Be careful, heavy. He made it.
Oh, he made it?
Yes.
Okay. You made it, right?
Oh,
he made it.
Oh, he made it.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is gonna help a lot. I was gonna tell you.
I was in the library yesterday. What can I do to help you guys?
Do you still have something this Sunday?
No, I'm gonna change this on you guys.
Oh, you changed it? Okay. I thought
I'll tell you
have
what.
it. No, we don't have it anymore.
Okay, here's my idea.
Okay.
It would be helpful to go Sunday, but there's some things maybe you don't need. You can if you want. If you wanted to go, you'd have to let me know tomorrow.
Okay.
But what I'd rather do, I'd rather spend time just with you guys and review everything.
On Sunday?
Not this Sunday,
Okay.
but on the next time that we meet, we meet on December 5 and 6. All right?
Okay.
That Sunday, before I go home again, if we could find a place to meet, and that's before your exam.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So if we could meet Sunday morning for about 4 hours, is that possible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We would review everything.
I have an apartment. Do you want to, if school is closed, do you want to...
No, school's open on Sunday.
Open? Okay.
Maybe you can get a room in the library.
We could get a room in the library.
Big room.
Or,
Or can we get this room?
they may give us this room too.
Oh, okay.
I can have them.
So you mean December 8th?
Would that be the 8th? That would be the 8th, correct.
Friday,
Okay.
Saturday, 7th, Sundays, and...
The 8th. Yeah. And I'll confirm it with you on that week, but kind of plan that. So we would just go over everything. I would have some slides. What we'd do is I just show you slides.
Okay.
We're going to say, what's this, what's this, what's this, why is this? And I think that would be a good review for you. and she's gonna show me the final before you guys take it, so I will also know what's on the final.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Do we get that too?
No.
I don't think I can get that one for you.
Oh.
You know, I mean, you were gonna offer money, and maybe we could consider it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But does that sound all right to you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. So, and then I don't know. We could start. I'd like to start early,
Okay.
and then because I would take off and leave in the afternoon. I got a 14-hour drive. I won't make it the whole time, but at least if that works out, I'll kind of plan on that. Okay, and we'll just go with the whole thing, because I think you're going to need more information on understanding the bony lesions and things like that.
Yes, and she likes that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, she does.
Yeah, she
I
does.
like herpes and abscess. Okay, so that's what we have. Okay, so today it's odontogenic lesions, and you guys have studied for it. All right. So let's see what I just did. All right. Let me get the handout. What's this? What are these How's this? Here we go. Okay, let's just talk about a meloblastoma first.
Okay.
I'm looking at this.
And you can look at the notes. When they talk about odontogenic lesions, there's more than what she listed. She only listed what here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, there's about 20 some. Okay? So you're only seeing some of them. All right. Some of them are really, really rare. I mean, really rare. Some are more common, and one of the most common ones, actually in here, are meloblastoma. Odontomas can be common, but most of them aren't very common. All right. And they're hard to just look at some of these, know what they are just from the radiographs. Some are radiolucent, some are radiopaque, some are mixed. And the other thing is, and maybe she had that in her handout too, some odontogenic lesions just come from the epithelial part of the tooth, like the enamel. Some of them come from the mesenchymal part, like the pulp and the dentin and the cementum. And then some are a combination of both. So you have epithelial ones, you have the mesenchymal ones, and you have mixed lesions, all right?
Yeah.
So the meloblastoma is, of the odontogenic, it is probably one of the more common ones, all right? And a couple things about it. One, age-wise, okay? Now, the first thing to remember about a meloblastoma, is it radiolucent, radiopaque, or mixed?
Lucent.
Always radiolucent.
So ameloblastoma is
Yes.
radio.
And it's one of the more common ones. Okay? Now, age is around 30 to 50. All right? I think the average age is like 32 or something like that, is the average age. But they usually don't see them in somebody really young. When you think of an ameloblastoma, when I think of a meloblastoma on an x-ray, I think of multilocular, okay? Or honeycomb. They don't always have to be. They don't have to be. But when you see a multilocular lesion, often it has to be in your diagnosis. The other thing about them, location can be anywhere, but by far the most common area is where?
The mandibular.
Posterior mandible.
Yeah.
That is the most common. All right? Symptoms, slow growing, really slow growing. All right? And they may or may not cause pain. If they're in pain, the only reason, are they benign or malignant? Let's ask you that.
The malignant.
No, they're benign.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they're slow?
But they're slow growing, but they are aggressive. They can get huge. I have pictures of them sticking out like this.
So they're malignant?
No,
No,
they're benign.
Benign.
They're benign. but they're aggressive.
Mhm.
I mean, aggressive doesn't mean always malignant.
Yeah.
Malignant lesions are aggressive,
Yeah.
but some benign ones, they act like a malignant one. Okay. So they're very slow growing, may take several years. They also can be unilocular also. All right, they don't have to be multilocular. Now, often they're associated with a unerupted third molar. Often, okay. If you now, what often can be around a unerupted third molar? You can have what kind of a cyst? What cyst is that? Dentigerous. Dentigerous cyst. So they can look like a dentigerous cyst. Sometimes even a meloblastoma can occur in the lining of a dentigerous cyst. So that's why they always remove a dentigerous cyst, all right? So excision on these things is you do a wide excision, all right? Because they're aggressive. If you don't, you could have a recurrence. It could be a recurrence rate, all right? So I am going to, all right. Let's look here. Look at, we have to turn this on, don't we?
So is there pain associated or not so much?
It can be pain. If it
Okay.
impinges on a nerve, it can be painful.
Okay.
All right? So let's just look at this. So, you know what? I didn't. No, I didn't. I guess I did. Oh no, we can't do this, can we? All right. Here, average age 40. 85% are in the mandible. They cause cortical expansion, slow growth, very aggressive. Okay? Multilocular or unilocular, often soap bubble, often around the unerupted third molar. Here's, there's a third molar. See that? Let's actually, well, I won't. Here is another one. This is up here. This is not a good one. But this shows you how they're multilocular, all right?
Oh.
So they do have a high recurrence rate because they're aggressive. And it's, if you don't take a wide enough margin, usually they say when you remove it, you should go about a centimeter beyond the margin, okay? Now, here, this was a fascinating case. I lectured to the dental students one day on a meloblastoma, and the dental student came up and said, I took an x-ray on my wife this morning in the dental school. Before class, he just brought her in as a patient, and he saw this lesion right here.
Wow.
He said, is this an meloblastoma? And when they biopsied it, it was. Isn't that coincidental?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they do cause root resorption also. See that? Can cause that. Here's what it looked like. So they had to remove part of her jaw. But here is the lesion right here. All right? So that was an meloblastoma. Now there is also a unicystic or unilocular meloblastoma. That means it's not soap bubble. Okay? Couple characteristics about that you should remember. Not quite as aggressive. Younger age group. Look at the age. 23 to 25, 35. All right? So it's younger. Where meloblastoma is what age group?
30 to 30.
In the 30s. It can be any age. Radiolucency, often it's a radiolucency that's unilocular, and sometimes it surrounds a third molar, all right, or any tooth, uninterrupted tooth, doesn't have to be a third molar. And in this one, they can enucleate it out. It doesn't have the high recurrence rate, so they can curette this one out. They don't have to be quite as aggressive as a meloblastoma, all right? Recurrence is only 10 to 20%. And here's a couple more pictures of one. Oops. Here's one right here. All right. Here is another one. This is kind of multilocular. Not a good picture of them. Here's one down here. So they're not all in the third molar area. All right.
Yes.
And there is a peripheral melanoblastoma too, but you guys don't have to work. She never brought that one up. All right. So that's the difference. Multilocular and often third molar, posterior mandible, but often has that soap bubble look to it. Okay. Got any more questions on that?
So this soap bubbly one, it's uni,
The bubbly one is
not uni. No,
no unilocular means
one of them.
just one area.
Yes.
Unilocular means one space radiolucency.
So what's the
Multilocular
difference?
means
It's some-
bubble-like.
What's the difference between ameloblastoma and uni ameloblastoma?
The difference is, they're usually the melanoblastoma is more often multilocular, but it can be unilocular, so you can't always tell. There's a little difference on the histology. So the unilocular is never multilocular.
Yes.
The younger age group
Yeah,
is one
yeah,
big
okay.
difference.
Got it.
Okay,
Yes.
and it doesn't have the high recurrence rate, right?
Yes.
So that's one, and often it looks like a dentigerous cyst.
Okay.
Yeah, that's often the main difference between them, all right? And they both surround unerupted teeth, all right? And then the difference in says here, this is unilocular that we're looking at here. Okay, let's go back and look at, and it says the as far as recurrence, around 10 to 20%. But look at the melanoblastoma. Let's look at that. Recurrence, 50 to 90% in the melanoblastoma. And the other one is what? The unilocular. I mean, they're both the melanoblastoma. So this one's only about 10 to 20 or 40%.
And that's for recurrence.
Yeah. Now here's an melanoblastoma too. Look at the picture here. See here? See how large they can get?
That one is
They have to remove his whole
ameloblastoma.
jaw.
Is it? Yeah,
Yeah,
ameloblastoma.
yeah. That's a multilocular.
The jaw being like
Yep.
this.
Yeah, his jaw was. Yeah, you can see how big the thing was up there. See it?
Would that cause
You know
tooth
what?
loss?
Flip one of those lights off. That's better.
Or,
Yeah, that's better.
yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Otherwise, we weren't seeing these too well. Okay. So there's a peripheral type too, but don't worry about that. She didn't bring it. So okay. All right. That help? Okay. A pneumatoid odontogenic tumor. Did she let you use abbreviations like AOT?
Not on
No.
the
No,
quiz.
she won't.
No.
All right. So a pneumatoid odontogenic tumor. Okay. So tell me about that. What are you going to tell me about that while I'm looking one up?
It's more prevalent in females.
Yes, correct. You're right.
I believe it's the maxillary canine.
It's often maxillary, right?
Maxillary.
It's
Okay.
females, young females, maxillary area, but a lot of these aren't. Melanoblastoma doesn't usually occur in that area. And you're right. And do I not even have one in here? I can put one on. That's what I had here. All right. I don't have one. Okay. Okay, but that's one of the main things. Young age, 10 to 19, location, anterior part of the jaw. Females, just like you said, often it looks like a dentigerous cyst. Now, one difference on a dentigerous cyst, and I'll show you here, that how you tell, is this right?
Yes, you can use this pen. That one's kind of like.
So if we have, let's say we have an impacted tooth here. Okay, this is an upper thing, and we got a cyst around it. If we had a dentigerous cyst around it, it's going to look like that, right?
Yes.
So, and this is the radiolucency part. So a dentigerous cyst, where it ends, is at the CE junction. But often on an AOT, you'll see it go like this. It will often end up here, not here. That's one way you can tell that. That's one way you can tell the difference. Not always, but that's something to look at. All right. There is another thing of an AOT, And it is, and it's in the notes here, often you may have some calcification in it, little tiny specks of calcification.
Yeah.
But it's young. Let's see if I can find you another area in the regions. Let's see if it's under here. Here's this, Odontogenic. Okay. I'll put it on the cysts we talked about. That's not on it. Okay, let me try to do one over here. Try one other area. Odontogenic. George, I don't have a lot of that. Huh. Okay, but I know where some pictures are. Some slides. Where is the slides? Oh, come on. Okay, slides. Shortcut to slides. You see where it says shortcut to slides anywhere?
You could also
Search for
look.
it.
Yeah, search for it.
Do what?
If you go to the start button,
Here, right.
and then in that search right there,
Search for search.
Down, 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 all the way down to
Oh,
the
here?
left.
A bit
little
lower?
left. Lower, more.
yeah, right there.
There you go.
You can type it in there.
Oh, you can put it in?
Yeah.
Put what? Odontogenic tumor?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Or the name of the file.
Oh. Oh, here we go. So odontogenic tumors. Okay. All right. Good. Yeah, man, you know, I should hire you. Okay. Okay. This is a adenomatoid odontogenic tumor. So here we go. Let's look at some. Oh, got a bunch of them. So here's a big difference. Here's one here. You see, this thing doesn't end right there, does it? It goes beyond the CE junction. See that? Let's look at another one. Here's another one. And often has fine specks. See the little specks in here? Right there?
Yeah.
Here's another one. Look at this. Where does it end? Down here. Not right here. See that? Here was another one. This was on a patient I saw. A young patient. Right here. Unerupted tooth. A central never came down. And here's the radiolucency around it.
It's number 8, I think.
And here is a little piece of calcification. See that? And here's another one.
Oh. Oh.
What?
Is that your phone?
Oh, I hope not. No, that's not mine.
Oh, yeah.
It's done.
All right. So anyway, there's some examples of some. Okay. All right. All right. Let's go back, and we'll go back to all of them again. Okay. Good. Now, so understand that one? Calcifying epithelial odontogenic tumor. Really kind of a rare one. All right.
Yeah, this one was hard.
It
for
is.
me to, like,
It is a hard one.
Yeah.
I was going to tell you, this is the hardest.
Okay.
All right. Age. It basically think of it like an ameloblastoma.
Okay.
Think of it. Same age group.
Okay.
It's about as aggressive as a meloblastoma.
Uh-huh.
All right. And location posterior mandible, and there could be swelling, maybe associated with a unerupted tooth. So you got to think this and a meloblastoma. You got to be thinking somewhat together. All right. Now X-ray. unilocular or multilocular, just like a ameloblastoma.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one difference. A ameloblastoma is always radiolucent.
Mm-hmm.
This one can have calcification in it.
And calcification is radiopaque.
It's radiopaque.
Okay.
Okay? So let's look at a couple of them. Okay? Another name for it is Pingborg tumor. Okay? Here's one right here. Now, no way I know what that is. I can't look at this and know what it is. What would you call this?
Something.
I mean, this could be a lateral periodontal cyst.
Yeah, that's what
Yes.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Here was the expansion. This was the tooth that we just looked at. And here you can see a little bit of it here. Okay? Look at the expansion right here. See this? How it expanded?
Mm-hmm.
This
And
one is not on the blastoma.
And this one doesn't have a lot of calcification in it. Let's look at some others here. It was named after Pingborg. Pingborg tumor. He was an oral pathologist from Denmark, one of the most famous oral pathologists. He's dead now. He lectured here one time.
Really?
Yeah. Here's another one. Look at this. Look at this here. And now look at the calcification inside of that. But would I know that's a calcified epithelial odontogenic tumor? No. Like you say, this one's hard. This is the histology. Here's one. Look at this one. This is the maxilla. They're not always in the mandible, but here's a radiolucency with calcification. Right?
That's hard. Yeah.
So you would at least be thinking of that.
Radiopaque.
So this one is not easy. Not easy. Here's another one. Not really very distinct, but it's a mixed lesion. So often this is a mixed lesion.
Okay.
All right? I'll find some more pictures of it. Here would be another one. Oh, here's another one right here. But not a good picture. I wouldn't want to show you that on the test.
What is that?
You would have a hard time with that. Those are not easy. That's not an easy one. But think of the possibilities of an ameloblastoma. Okay? But you will probably never ever see one of those. Okay. Now, let's go to the next one. Ameloblastic fibroma. Young. Now, here is one that's mixed. It's a mixed tumor. Because why? Ameloblastoma is epithelial. Fibroma is what? Mesenchymal tissue.
Yeah.
Right? Okay? So this one's young. Mostly posterior mandible. It's going to look just like a what? The unilocular ameloblastoma.
Okay.
Be made hard to tell the difference.
Yeah.
All right? So X-ray unilocular or multilocular, and it's radiolucent. Here, look at this. 75% are associated with the unerupted tooth. All right? Local cure times, you don't have a high recurrence rate. Okay? So, ameloblastic fibroma, let's look at some. This is classic.
Classic picture.
That's a classic picture of one. What else could it be?
It's not on the blastoma.
That's young, right?
It is?
So it could be, you say ameloblastoma?
Yeah.
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 What type?
The uni one.
The unilocular.
Uni look.
It's going to be both, because those are both young people. All right? So you can't really tell it's hard to tell the difference. So I can look at this, I would have to do a differential diagnosis on this. If it's young, impacted tooth, 75% of these associated with impacted tooth.
Yeah.
And now, the only way you can tell is difference would be the histology. Let's look at the histology. Here's another pore. These are hard to tell. These are not, and it's made up of fibrous. This is like tissue. This is like fibrous tissue, and this is like ameloblast, strings of ameloblasts. So this is how you could tell histologically. All right.
Question. So when they do a biopsy, is it like do they look into a mic?
Yes. Right.
Okay.
After a biopsy
Yeah.
is done, okay, they take the tissue
Uh-huh.
and you put it in formalin right away.
Okay.
It preserves the tissue. Then you send it to a lab. What a lab does, they take that piece and they embed that piece of tissue
Yeah.
in a paraffin block. They embed it. Then they take and they make thin slices. I mean, micro slices. They have a machine that will slice this. And then they put these thin slices on a glass slab. Okay, you know, the microscope, like you put under a microscope.
Yeah.
And then they stain that and they put a glass cover on top. Okay?
Yeah.
Then you can look under the microscope. This is what you would see. So you have to stain it.
Okay.
There's all different kind of stains you can
Yeah.
use. Right.
And they most likely will look like okay.
Right. And that's how they tell melaleutic fibroma. Well, there's another. That's not a good picture. Yeah, it's not. We don't have good pictures of that one. No, see, even in our group, we don't have good pictures of that. All right. So that's young, looks like an meloblastoma, right? Young age, often third mode, 75%. And as far as treatment, they're not aggressive like a meloblastoma.
Yeah.
What are the two aggressive ones we talked about?
Glioblastoma is aggressive
Calcified epithelial odontogenic.
Yeah.
Can you remember that name? CEOT. CEOT. Calcified epithelial odontogenic tumor. All right. Now, next one's easy. Okay. And I'm reviewing you for the quiz, but it's like we're doing the whole lecture before we're doing anything.
That's
We'll go through
good.
it again. So odontoma, two types, compound, complex. What's the difference?
The compound is in the front, or like the anterior part of the
Can be, yes.
And then the complex is usually in
Often,
yeah,
often it
posterior.
is, yes, more in the anterior, often in the maxilla.
Yeah.
And what else about it when you look at it on X-ray?
Oh,
What is the difference when you look at it? How can you tell the difference between a compound and complex?
the aggressiveness of it.
The
No.
complex one is like lots of balls close together. No?
Compound looks like teeth or miniature teeth. Complex is just a irregular mass of enamel, dentin, and stuff.
So the compound one is look like a spider web?
Is like a spider web?
A spider web. No.
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 Awesome.
I think I know which.
Yes, I mixed.
I think I know what you. I think you're thinking about odontogenic myxoma.
That one is like that.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So, compound looks like a tooth, or it can be a bunch of teeth, but they look like teeth. So, and the common area here, anterior maxilla, and age, young people, often 14, 15, young adults. Okay. Complex is a calcified mass and often has a narrow radiolucent rim around it. May be associated with unerupted tooth, maxillary or mandibular, and it may be associated, I wrote twice, or may be associated with unerupted tooth. And you did, both of them you just removed. Okay, let's look at some. Let's look at a compound. Okay, so this kind of looks like teeth in a way. That would be a compound. This definitely would look like a compound. All right, because you can see what? See pulp tissue in there? Here's a real small tooth right there. See that? All right. You can see pulp tissue. Here's some more. You could kind of make out a crown of a tooth and things like that.
So would that one be complex?
No, that would be compound. Still, if it looks like a tooth.
Compound
This is
too.
definitely a compound.
Oh, it's because they
Complex
look like
is
little.
bigger.
They look like teeth.
Okay.
So this would be a
So
good.
big.
Here's 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 teeth in there.
Okay.
And where is it? Anterior maxilla.
Yeah.
All right. This one sometimes could be a combination of both. This one's probably more of a compound because here's the pulp. See this of the tooth, and this is a bunch of little tiny. Sometimes there can be as much as 100 teeth in one. Here's another one. Definitely here's one. See that? You can make out teeth. Now the complex, all right? Let's look at a complex. Irregular mass. Often associated with an unerupted tooth, which this one is. Often it has a radiolucent rim, just like it says in your notes.
Yeah.
Who made out these good notes for you?
He
All right.
said,
Must
you
have been sharp
wrote
that
3
day.
times?
Huh?
You wrote 3 times.
No, I
Thank you.
Xeroxed it.
Really?
Yeah. So I just made one copy and she, the
Got it.
secretary Xeroxed it. You realize when I was a dental student, there were we didn't have mimeograph stuff. Everything you did in class had to be your own notes.
Wow.
They didn't have copy machines back then. No, they had a machine they could do a test on. They had to type it out on carbon paper first.
Oh.
Jeez.
How would you guys share notes? Would you guys share notes or no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean some people took better notes than others.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I got to tell you 2 stories. The second dean here was really a strict dean. The one, dean when I was here, you'll see his picture. His name was Smith. He was the second dean, but this school was run like a military school. Okay, but he wanted you to be professional. You never entered this school without a tie on. If you were here Sunday working in the lab, you had to wear a tie. My wife, when I was a junior, came around and was coming into student entrance to give me lunch.
Yeah.
So she had a stroller with my first child in it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the dean was walking down the hall and
Oh.
saw her and said, "Who are you?" Well, she said, "Well, I'm here to bring my husband lunch." He said, "Follow me." He took her outside that door. She had a stroller, walked her all the way around to the front entrance and said, "This is where dental students' wives come into the school."
Wow.
I got to tell you another good story too. And I just heard this one the other day. A friend of mine, he was up. They used to have the junior senior lab. Used to be upstairs. And that was part of. Yeah, they used to. Junior senior lab was upstairs. We're now part of the clinic.
Yeah.
All right. So he had his lab coat on. For some reason he left the lab to go get something in a locker in the hallway. Well, he went around the corner. He met the dean coming the other way. But what he had his pencil in his ear.
Oh,
Okay?
no.
And when he went up to the dean grabbed that pencil, stuck it in his pocket, and said, "We are not store clerks here."
Oh my god.
That's what we lived under.
What is a store clerk?
Like a clerk. I don't know how to explain. Like a
Store clerk.
Like a front desk.
Yeah, it's the person who helps you in the store when you go buy
Got
something.
it.
Yeah, the store clerk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Store clerk.
Yeah.
They would have
They
put
always
something here,
put
right?
something here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and he was not doing that.
Yeah.
You're kidding. He was serious. We are not store clerks here. We are dentists.
Wow.
So that's what you lived. That's what you lived under back in those days. Yeah. Totally different.
When did this dean retire?
When did he?
Yeah.
He retired a couple of years after I left. He went to another school.
Oh, he did.
Actually, I liked him. What it was you knew where the line was. As long as you didn't cross that line, you were okay.
Yeah.
You were on the good side. I actually, like a lot of people, had a hard time with him. I didn't. I never crossed the line.
You like the rules?
I liked all the deans. There was one named Klooster that was really one of the best. He was a dean for a long time. So here's another one. Look, unerupted tooth.
Complex.
So that would be, now there's other things we're going to learn under bony lesion that could look similar to this too. This one's, boy, here's a combination of both. Well, this more looks like a compound, doesn't it, huh?
Yeah.
Definitely that's a tooth,
Yeah.
because you can see the pulp chamber,
Mm-hmm.
all right? That's a lot of, but I wouldn't know what that was, that's a poor picture. This one,
It's compact.
well, I would say compound in a way, because this looks like the cusp of the teeth, don't they?
Oh yeah.
But you could, again, hard to really tell. This one, I would say compound, because it looks like teeth there, right? It's not that just mass. You know, this has some, what you can see on this, you can see enamel, all right? On a complex, you couldn't see that.
Yeah.
It's just a really opaque mass, all right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we got that. Okay. Now, those are easy. Okay, so. All right, next one is odontogenic myxoma. Now, what did you say?
The web one is spider web.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's a multilocular, kind of looks like a spider web.
Mm-hmm.
That one
These,
is myxoma.
these age, again, is 20 to 30. It's radiolucent, looks something like an ameloblastoma in a way. Okay, unilocular or multilocular. It's soap bubble, and it has an irregular border. Whereas ameloblastoma sometimes has a definite border to it, all right?
Mm-hmm.
But it can look like an ameloblastoma. Can cause root resorption, causes swelling, like an ameloblastoma. When I say swelling, expansion of the bone.
Mm-hmm.
All right, very aggressive. So here's which ones are aggressive? Ameloblastoma.
And
Okay.
you need no.
No,
Calci.
unilocular is not really aggressive.
Calci something.
The calcium epithelial odontogenic
Yes.
tumor.
CE.
CEOT. Calcium epithelial odontogenic tumor. All right. So let's look at one of these. What is this again? We're looking at odontogenic myxoma. Do I have one here? Yeah, here we go. Oh, look at this one. What would you call that? If I just showed you that X-ray.
But it's not a spider web, this one.
No, you don't always see that.
Yeah.
What would you call it? But then you only know some of these. I mean, you're learning. You only know sometimes when you do the histology. What would you think of a differential diagnosis?
Ameloblastoma.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
ameloblastoma. Yeah, definitely. How about a unilocular? No, it's not really a unilocular.
I would think that.
How about a calcified epithelial odontogenic tumor? Yeah,
Oh,
could
yeah.
be, because
Mhm.
when you go back and look at that, calcified epithelial odontogenic tumor may be associated with an unerupted tooth. All right?
Mhm.
Most, and can be unilocular or multilocular, although I don't see calcification in this, but there could be, all right?
Mhm.
So what you gotta learn is, here is another one. I don't like that picture. Here's one, look at
that
this.
one, yes.
That looks like a ameloblastoma, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Huh?
It's not a no.
That's more, this is more soap bubble.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
I think more of a ameloblastoma on this,
Yeah.
right? So what you're learning is you always can't tell. Here's another one.
Bubbles ameloblastoma.
I don't like that. Okay, how about it? Okay, here's one.
That's what I thought.
What do you think on this one?
It looks unilocular.
Unilocular?
Where is it?
Looks like a what?
Oh, around
If you
here.
didn't know anything, what would be your first choice?
It's not
CEOT.
adenoma.
Well, don't think just of odontogenic tumors. Think of cysts too.
Oh, cyst.
Oh, dentigerous.
Yeah, I gotta put dentigerous cyst first.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was
Okay, this is a young person, and because it still has a primary tooth there, and it's anterior. What else would you think of? We just talked about it a little while ago.
Adenomatoid. Or,
AOT, adenomatoid odontogenic tumor.
oh yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Are you gonna be able to?
But the thing is,
Oh,
if it
the
goes below,
quiz, all the names are there, you don't have to say.
Yes.
Mhm.
Fortunately.
All of them.
Okay, let's look at another one.
The name of the
Oh, look at this
the
one.
quiz has everything. So
Okay.
you can-
oh, okay, okay.
How would you describe this?
Unio. No, not union.
Multilocular, soap bubble.
Multilocular.
Yep.
You could say that you have this spider web, right?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
This shows expansion of this one.
Ameloblastoma. Yep.
That's not a great X-ray. And here's what the histologist just myxomatous tissue. She showed you. She's not going to show you any histology.
No.
But it helps you on. This is myxomatous. That's where the name comes. Odontogenic myxoma. All right. Oh, here's one.
That's a class.
That's
Classic.
myxoma.
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic ameloblastoma and a classic ameloblastic odontoma. But this definitely is a spider.
Yes,
What?
it's
Could be either
also-
one.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
Here's another one. Look at this.
But that's just calcify something.
You
If
know,
the
this.
root is
I always
calcified.
think first of ameloblastoma when it's like this.
Okay.
All right, you got that then, huh? God, you guys are smart today. Well, here's another one. Anterior tooth. Look at this.
It's the ameloblastoma. No. What is that?
You know, it's a fairly young person, but this was a odontogenic myxoma. And let's see what went along with this. I'll show you what it looked like. Here's what it looked like clinically. This is what it was clinically.
Oh.
That's Dr. Richards took that picture. Oh, here's the lesion right here. Well, sure wouldn't be my choice. Wouldn't be my first choice. This would not have been my
Like
first
a
choice.
nasal
Ameloblastoma would probably be my first choice on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cause that's on the maxillary, right?
What?
That.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cause I was thinking of nasal duct.
Oh,
Nasal passage.
that yes, incisive canal cyst.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They are not multilocular. Incisive canal cyst is never multilocular.
Okay. So it's always union.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Now let's look at the last one. Okay, what's the last one, people?
Oh, cementoblastoma.
And that's an easy one.
That's an easy one.
That's easy. The characteristics of this, often young adult. This is classic right here. Look at this.
Yes.
Mm.
Because they're often young people. They are often associated with the first molar. They're radiopaque, but they have a radiolucent outline around it, rim, okay? And you don't see the end of the root on these things. Where we're going to look at some under bony lesions, they're going to be very similar to this, but you'll see the end of the root. All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, we kind of did a review, but we kind of went through the whole thing. All right. Are you ready for your quiz that we should have taken before we did the review?
Yep.
Cheated on you guys.
Thank you.
But bony lesions is not easy. Okay. Heather?
Heidi. Heidi. What was mine?
Sarah.
Yay.
But it's different.
Sarah.
Serena.
No.
Wait, you
You said
forgot my
Serena, so
name?
the Serena is coming in your
Why,
head
you
and
got
it's
the
there.
H.
Is 10 of them?
Cause you have 2 daughters, right?
3.
3 daughters.
Heidi, Holly, all H's.
Oh, Heidi.
Yeah.
You have Heidi.
I have a Heidi. A Holly.
Okay.
Heidi works here in dental school.
Here?
Yeah.
Which one?
Her name is Heidi Cooley.
5th floor?
Fourth floor.
4th
Have
floor,
you ever
but she's
seen
moving
her?
to the
I haven't
5th
seen
floor.
Oh, she did.
Oh,
Oh.
she is?
She's going to be in that far office on the west-south corner. She'll be in that. She'll be there with a couple of secretaries. And it's a person who does that, helps us all the accreditation. So she works in that office. And she does that accreditation. Love it. I don't know what she does.
What?
Okay, you guys looking for a quiz, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
350 slides for Sunday. I'll never get through that.
Oh wow.
How much time do you have?
From 9 to 4:30.
Oh,
There's going to be,
a
it'll be
100 slides.
close to
They have a lunchtime too.
175 people or something.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Dental student too?
Pardon?
Dental student too? They're
No,
coming? No?
they can. Anybody, they can. But mostly dentists and hygienists. Okay, what one is this? Odontogenic? Oh, this
Number
is
8.
pre-quiz.
Mm-hmm.
And it's odontogenic.
Do you have your uncle today? Or no?
No, I had him on
Monday?
Monday.
Okay, here we go. So remember some of the things that I told you.
Age.
Age. Female.
I don't understand it, Chris. Why doesn't she have A, B, C, D, E, F, and G?
Oh yeah. She starts with J.
Age.
Because she's continuous from another quiz or something? That's weird.
Oh.
So one thing that's helpful in this, she's at least telling you that it's an odontogenic tumor. See, she's not saying otherwise you get it confused with something else that we talked about, but we'll go over these ones for now. Is this on? Oh, you know what? These are supposed to be timed. All right, you ready? Okay, number 2. Okay, number 3. So if you have more pencils, that gives you more possible answers. Okay, 4.
You said this picture is not a good one.
Not a good one?
Not a good one. But she
Oh.
chose that one.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Oh, we're to 5 already. Okay.
Can we go back to the other one? Okay. I'm having trouble with this one.
Me too.
I just about put the volume.
This one's 6 and 7.
6 and 7.
There's a slight buckle.
So it could be either order.
It can be either or.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, it could be either, 2 answers, but they can be any order.
Okay. Would you be okay going over it just one more time? I just want to
That
make
for the
sure.
first one?
Yeah. From this
Oh, wait, there's the 8 one. There's 8 before we go back.
Okay.
Who would you rather have lecture to you? Grande or Richards?
This is stuff?
Yeah.
Both of them. Grandi, I remember she said a spider web.
No. Who is it easier to understand when they go through?
I'm personally okay with Grandi.
You're okay with Grande?
Yes. She has accent like me or better than me, but the explanation, it's more
She's
understandable.
slower?
Yes.
She talks slower?
Yeah. And explain easier than Miss Richards. Maybe for me, I don't know.
Can we go over it one more time?
Okay, here we
I just
go.
want to make sure.
Alright, here's 1,
Okay.
2,
Oh, wait.
alright, you ready for 3,
Yeah.
4, 6. 2 answers, 6 and 7. Hit the fire thing.
The fire drill.
It's a fire alarm.
Ever so often they do that.
Oh.
You would have to get out of here.
I have no idea.
Open the door and you hear what she says.
Do you want me to open the door?
Yeah, see what.
I think they said like faculty.
Sometimes they shut it off. For a while. It's a pain with your patient.
They're sitting. They don't care.
Okay, 8.
Could you go to number 4 again?
Any clue for number 4? I don't know
The
what
clue's
is it.
right there.
I forgot.
Middle age.
All right, you ready to hand them in?
I hope.
I did
What do you
so
mean you
bad.
hope? Man, we went over all
It's
these.
so
Yeah,
bad.
but like, still. It's a little confusing.
Yes. I did so bad.
Oh wait, I have. Okay.
It is. Born lesions are confusing.
What?
It's born
Yeah.
because you don't know for sure what it is.
Yeah.
Some of them you don't know.
Yeah.
It's got characteristics of both. But sometimes the history helps you. She put some good words in there to help you.
Yeah.
So I think she made it. Yeah, I thought this was a fairly easy quiz. Okay, let's do this first. Okay. You shouldn't have any problem with this one. Anterior
Was it the uniocular?
and 9 years old female. There you go. There's your answer right. That helped you right there.
Yeah, the 9-year-old.
Now, it looked like a dentigerous cyst, but the bottom of the cyst didn't end at the CE junction, right?
It just kept going.
It kept going.
Yeah.
And that's characteristic of what?
Uniocular. No, the
AOT?
amyloblastoma.
AOT. Amyloblastic odontogenic tumor.
No.
Classic.
Wrong.
Female, 9 years old. First thing we had on here. Anomatoid odontogenic tumor. Young age. Anterior teeth. Looks like a dentigerous cyst. May cause calcification, but we don't see calcification. So your answer should have been J.
It's different.
And Brian, you put Q. What did you put?
Because
was
it's
Q?
different.
Amyloblastic fibroma?
Yeah.
Usually in the posterior.
Okay. I thought we were looking at the posterior for some reason.
Oh no, it's the anterior.
Okay.
Did I do wrong too? I think so.
Oh, I hope I'm not the only one that got it right. Sarah, you put I,
Wait, what's the?
which is unicystic ameloblastoma.
Not that one.
Yeah, it's possible.
Possible.
I gotta think about that one. I'll put a question on that one.
Because that one is
okay.
young too.
That's young too.
That's
Yeah,
what-
you're right. I mean, that's possible, not characteristic.
wait,
And
so-
you put that too, Heidi.
Yeah, that's what I put too.
Yeah. I have to debate on that one.
Because okay, what is the answer for this one? You said
It's,
ameloblastoma fibroma.
No, AOT.
AOT.
It's adenomatoid.
And no
Okay,
odontogenic.
Can I fight it?
Yeah.
Because on this it says 10 to 19, and that says 9-year-old female.
This is roughly 10, not exactly 10.
Just
Come
put
on,
one
you got
grade.
okay, how about 1 to 100? That's what I'm gonna do next time for you.
I mean, if you
Mine
have
is
to,
so
then
funny.
I'm okay.
Roughly.
I'm just trying to like, you
Staying in
know,
the same
get a
age
good
group.
grade. I'm trying to save my grade.
Maybe that one won't. Alright, let's go number 2. This you better not have missed.
It's
Cemento.
calcify something, no?
Cemento.
Cementoblastoma, yeah. Cemento something?
This is a cementoblastoma,
Yeah.
Okay.
which is,
Which is. Yeah, it's
Oh.
different. Yes, it's different.
no, wait,
What?
she used different numbers in all these.
Yes. Yeah, different. We all have different things.
Oh,
Yes.
Interesting.
I'm glad.
Oh, you didn't know that?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
different.
Oh,
Because you
well,
mentioned
you're okay.
you guys
Okay.
had J,
Oh,
but
that's
I didn't
okay.
have J.
Oh. Okay.
That's I
Okay.
understand it's different.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to, I won't even grade that now, okay.
Mhm.
That should be tricky on us. Okay, this was a cementoblastoma.
Cementoblastoma.
Okay, this one,
It's compound.
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 Compound. Oh, don't need this. Oh, that one. What is it?
That one, I
I'm
think,
thinking, middle-aged male.
a
jaw swelling.
meloblastoma.
She said
Oh.
there's no pain, but not always pain. You can have pain, but most
So it's
time they're
a
slow growing
meloblastoma.
is painless.
It's
A
a
What is the best
meloblastoma.
diagnosis? I have no problem on this. What?
Meloblastoma.
Meloblastoma.
Okay.
It's one
I
of
said
the
it's
most
no
common.
pain, so that one has a pain. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of times, because they're slow growing sometimes, so meloblastoma, which should be,
Goodness. Okay.
you know, you could argue some other things. You could argue a pingboard tumor if you want on this, or, which is calcified epithelial jaundice tumor. I couldn't, if you said that, I couldn't argue with you. Okay, this one,
It's
Okay.
complex? Or
That's what I was gonna
no?
say.
I forgot what I put.
I put
you know, you
Yeah, me
could,
too.
it's got too big of
Massive,
radiolucency.
yes.
Huh?
It's a mass. No?
No,
Massive.
I could see why you would put that. This is a hard one for you.
I did complex as well. I think that's what I put.
Because I said it's a calcified mass, so complex.
Wait, that makes sense.
Calcified epithelial jaundice tumor.
Oh, that was CEOT.
CEOT.
Can I see what I put?
And I think, you know what? I think I showed you this picture.
Yes, and you said
Yeah.
it's not a good one, and now she used it.
Yeah. Because we don't have good ones. But I showed you this as a,
Oh man.
I showed you this as a possibility.
Can I see what I put for that one? Forgot what I put.
Can I see what I put too?
I think I put wrong.
What number
It's
is
number
that?
one. Which number is?
Is it number 4?
Oh darn! I crossed it out.
Which number was that?
Oh, that was number 5.
Number 5?
Yeah.
The name of it was what?
Calcifying epithelial odontogenic
Here,
tumor.
I'm going back to these and I'm going to find it for you. I think. Right there.
Mm.
We can look at
It's
that.
not complex. Okay, it's not complex.
No. You wouldn't have, complex would not have that big of, it has a thin radiolucency. I mean, I can see why you say that. I understand that. It's the right, could be in the right area too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so hard about this quiz. That's why I have a hard time, because what you're saying is correct also. You know, but if you really want to argue the point,
Yeah.
there's too much radiolucency here. Way too much radiolucency. It only has a thin radiolucency. Yep. All right, let's go back and go to quiz.
What was number 4? The Bobovia?
Oh.
But that was not fibroma. It's amyloblastoma. That one that
Yeah.
this
The
guy.
meloblastoma.
Why it's not amyloblastoma fibroma?
Meloblastoma what?
Fibroma.
Ameloblastoma
Oh,
fibroma.
they are unilocular.
They are uni.
Yes, unilocular, and they're young. This is middle age.
Oh.
The meloblastic fibroma, look on our notes, young, right on top of that second
Young.
page.
Got it.
Yep,
Fibroma.
posterior mandible. Yep, you got right in posterior mandible, but they're not multilocular. You gotta think, when you see something like this, you always gotta think of a meloblastoma.
Why it's not like bumpy on a jaw? It's bumpy on the jaw actually. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, you would have swelling, you would have swelling on it. Okay, this one, okay, we know what that was. Okay, this one, 2 things.
Unicystic.
Yes,
Unicystic,
you
yeah.
said meloblastoma, definitely.
Okay.
And it's not AOT.
No,
That's on the
that's
anterior.
the anterior.
I said ameloblastic fibroma.
Yes, correct.
Ooh,
Um,
Yes.
because of
Yes. Yep. That'd be those two. Yes, it could be either one of those two.
Mm.
so
Okay.
Uniblastic ameloblastoma.
Okay.
Now, the other thing it could be,
fibroma too.
but we're talking about odontogenic lesions. What if she didn't? What if she
What is
put
the
this up
second
here
one?
and we weren't talking about
No,
odontogenic
no.
lesions?
So,
What would
so
you
the
put?
first choice is
A
uni.
dentigerous.
I got
Yeah.
that. What is the
Dentigerous.
other one?
ameloblastic
Yeah.
fibroma.
Fibroma. Got it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Did you hear what we say?
No.
Well, you should listen.
Sure. I will.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question now because you weren't listening.
Sure.
If I put this up there and I didn't give you any history, like to the right-hand side,
Uni.
Yeah.
what would you say?
The uni one. Uni.
What would be your first diagnosis?
It'd be
Ameloblastoma, but fibroma. No.
But forget about just odontogenic lesions. Let's include something else too. Here we can only answer odontogenic lesions. What's beyond here? What else would you? What would be the first thing I'd think of if I saw this? What is the radiolucency that goes around the crown of an unerupted tooth?
Oh yeah, you said that.
Ryan said that. Dentigerous cyst.
Cysts. Yeah.
That would be my first choice.
oh, that's what I was gonna say.
That would be my first choice.
Got it.
But dentigerous cyst is not an odontogenic tumor, and this quiz was on
Oh, yeah.
odontogenic tumors.
Got it.
But that would still be my first choice.
Choice.
So ameloblastic fibroma can. Oh, it's both unilocular and.
Yes, right.
Okay.
Yeah, use a unilocular.
Usually unilocular. Oh, okay. I see.
Okay, and this one,
It's this myxoma. It's a spider web. That was the easy one.
what one?
Myxoma.
Odontogenic myxoma.
Myxoma.
Yes.
Easy, I find it.
That one is easy.
I mean, I would have to argue ameloblastoma too. It's a great ameloblastoma.
Yeah.
If you put ameloblastoma, I can't mark you wrong on this. I'll argue on that one.
But it's myxoma, right?
Yes, myxoma. And we saw this picture when it went through too. Right? All right. So, what else do we need to go through on odontogenic lesions? Shall we just go through the notes real quick here? And then I want to go back and talk about cysts and stuff again, so you'll be ready for the test tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because I looked at the test tomorrow, it's not easy.
I know. I was looking at it last night,
Yeah.
and it's a lot. It's like,
Yes,
got a
it's
lot.
true. Yes.
is there
So I
any?
think we
around
need to
4.
review cysts or the rest of the time
Yeah.
today, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So let's go through the notes by Gandhi. You remember? Now I asked her if you guys ever going to have histology on a quiz, and she said no, which makes sense. You should.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes I wonder why you guys, as hygienists, why you haven't studied all
Yes,
these
all
odontogenic
this.
tumors.
Why we don't study it?
No, why you have to?
Miss
Into
Marshall
detail.
said they're
Do you
gonna.
have- why do you need to learn this much about
Oh,
it?
Miss Hayton said they're gonna reduce it to 4 units.
I think maybe because of board.
They're gonna make this course 4 units?
Miss Hayton
I'm
said they're
against
working
that.
on it.
Why make it? I don't know.
Do you still like it to be 5 units?
Yeah,
It's
if you're
too
gonna do
much
both
for
general
us.
path and oral path, you still need that. You know what you need? I mean, you get all the lecture, right? But you don't have time to sit around and talk about it like we do here in a class.
Yeah. That's true.
And that's where you learn.
Uh-huh.
You don't. You go through it. If you have questions, you can ask a question, but you don't get a chance to go back and really do a differential diagnosis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about this first page too. You know, it can be, tumors, odontogenic tumors can be from odontogenic epithelium, can be a mixed tumor, which is epithelium and mesenchymal tissue, or can just be from mesenchymal tissue. Yeah, right? But anyway, there's a lot of information there. Just tells you what ones come under what category, right? Okay, go to meloblastoma page. So,
Ameloblastoma. Okay.
That's page 3. So what's on the top? I underline most common clinically significant odontogenic tumor. Okay? Classification, you have conventional or multicystic, the name. Makes up 80% of the cases. Unicystic only makes up about 10 to 20%. There is a peripheral, that's rare. Okay? What's it rise from? It rises from the dental lamina, goes around the tooth, or the developing enamel organ, or the epithelial lining of an odontogenic cyst. Yeah. So you can get a melanoblastoma can occur in the lining of a dentigerous cyst. Right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
will occur. Okay. Now, under clinical features, first thing, and I put important here. See my IM? Sight, 80 to 85% on the mandible, posterior mandible. All right? Duration, slow growing. Other features, swelling or expansion. They cause massive expansion.
Mhm.
They can grow very large. You can have pain and paresthesia, but it's uncommon. And I put pain, I put pain on here in my thing, but we should put unusual.
Unusual pain.
Swelling, yeah, pain, not common, all right?
Pain.
And here, the reason why, it grows slow. So it's pushing nerves away. It's not invading nerves, okay? So radiographic features, multilocular or soap bubble, or honeycomb. That characteristic, multilocular. Can be unilocular, can resemble a cyst. Just like, let's go back to, and that, I have, that's not typical, in the wrong area. Wait. Let's go back here. This could be in a melanoblastoma, a unicystic, which we talked about flexibility. Often it's associated with the unerupted tooth.
Okay.
Those are the things. Treatment, aggressive treatment, okay? You gotta get beyond the margin. You just can't cure it out because you have a high recurrence rate, all right? Okay, now let's talk about unicystic. It only makes up like 20%. And age, young people, younger, all right, second decade. Again, posterior mandible, that's what we looked at here, right? Resembles a dentigerous cyst, that's what we looked at here, right? And it's not, we're kind of skipping the histology a little bit. Treatment, you can enucleate, in other words, you can curette it out, which you really don't want to do on an ameloblastoma. So this one's not as aggressive, all right? So you need to know about. Okay, and anomatoid odontogenic tumor. First thing Brian said, young female, all right? And that you got to think of that. So it's in the anterior, and that's what Brian said. Females twice as common as males. Asymptomatic, radiographic. It mimics a dentigerous cyst. Remember? And that's our thing back here. First one, this one we had. It mimics a dentigerous cyst. Sometimes can contain calcification. So here's what she said along here. She's talking about most common circumscribed unilocular radius around the crown of an unerupted tooth, most often a canine, may extend apically along the root past the CE junction. Remember we talked about that? This one definitely shows that. That's one characteristic. Usually a dentigerous cyst doesn't do that. It can. There's one type, circumferential dentigerous cyst, that can do that. Enucleation. You curate these out, you don't have a thing. So the whole thing on this one was 9-year-old female. As soon as you saw a 9-year-old female look like an dentigerous cyst, the anterior area, you got to think of AOT. That's something like that. What's her name? AOC, that keep making the news.
What is IOC?
AOC, is that her name?
What does she do?
News?
She's
Like
the one
CNN?
making the news. That that representative who's on TV all the time from Minnesota. You guys never watch the news. You don't know what AOC is.
No.
We watch like
No,
different
I-
types of news.
Yeah.
I can't
It's
stand
like
her.
different. I don't have a TV.
Yeah.
She's just,
Yeah.
she's just
I
young,
don't turn on TV.
she's just a young gal from, where's she from? Area in
Minnesota.
Africa.
Oh, never
Oh.
mind. I have no idea.
And she just, the whole party just people think she's wonderful. Bro, she's the one who says the world's going to end in 12 years.
It's not
Oh
possible.
wow.
Yeah, because of the environment. Oh, yeah. And
Oh
people-
wait, is she
Oh, the
really
little
young?
girl?
Huh?
Is she really young?
Yes.
And
Yes,
she's a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
protester
You-
about.
Yeah.
And she's from Australia.
No.
Australia, yes.
No.
She's blonde.
No, 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 no,
No,
not
not
that
that
one. No,
one?
she's darker.
And she like.
She's, where's she
Oh wait,
from?
she's darker. Like
Yeah,
she's not white.
Well,
But it's
Oh,
the
yeah,
blonde one.
I-
Little girl.
oh, that one from, no,
Yeah.
not that one.
Who,
No,
like,
that was terrible.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that was terrible?
Yeah.
Really? I have no idea.
All right. Calcified epithelial odontogenic tumor.
People get famous very fast here.
It doesn't make, it's only 1% of all odontogenic tumors. Calcified epithelial. That's not this. Right. That's the,
Oh,
that
that's
was
the fifth. No.
that one.
Oh, that one.
Okay. Clinical features, 2/3 cases posterior mandible, but this one wasn't in. May be associated with an impacted tooth. Remember I said this is much like an ameloblastoma? All right. Same age group as a ameloblastoma. Slow growing, just like ameloblastoma. Painless, like this ameloblastoma. Radiographic features, multilocular, unilocular. And it can have, it's radiolucent, can have radiopaque calcifications. She described it as snow driven. I don't know what you mean by snow driven. I don't know
That
what snow
one
looks like.
is.
So it's a little less aggressive than a meloblastoma. Now that's a hard one. I don't know. And I can see why you guys put that, but I bet when we read complex odontoma, I bet it says a narrow radiolucent rim. I can see why you put that, but that's not what you wanted for that. Okay, ameloblastic fibroma. Remember this one here? Young. Another one young. Just like AOT. There's the two young ones, right?
Yeah.
And the compound odontoma. Those are the two age healthiest. 70% occur, now we're talking about, ameloblastic fibroma. 70% occur in the posterior mandible, and 75% associated with the unerupted tooth. So it looks like a dentigerous cyst, or a unicystic ameloblastoma. All right? Unilocular, well-defined margins, and the one we had here was really well-defined margins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
very
a
well
yellow
defined.
one.
All right? And this one, local excision, you can't have recurrence, all right? So you gotta be a little bit aggressive, but, that's all there is about that. Okay. I mean, odontogenic lesions. Now, let's look at odontoma. Compound, usually like the anterior maxilla. Complex can be posterior mandible. Compound, collection of teeth-like structures of varying size and shape surrounded by a narrow radiolucent zone. Complex, calcified mass with a radial density of two structures surrounded by a what? Narrow radiolucent rim. Did this have a narrow radiolucent rim? No. And you didn't have a complex one. You had this one, which should say, I can see what you would think, this looks like teeth, but still again, it has a narrow radiolucent rim.
Brian, this one was look like this is AOT.
I think that one was the Sopo. It's
So
either
what was a mobilist?
yeah, ameloblastoma or
Which one do you think of?
Number 5. 4 or 5? I don't know. Not that one, no.
oh
The other one, yeah, this one, 4.
Or it's a meloblastoma.
Could it also be odontogenic myxoma?
No,
Not, doesn't
myxoma
have that
is red.
spiders, but if anything,
Okay.
I'd say a calcifying epithelial odontogenic tumor before
Okay.
before a myxoma.
Okay.
Okay, so odontoma is easy. Now let's look at odontogenic myxoma. Again, young adults 25 to 30, a little younger than a meloblastoma. Radiographic unilocular, multilocular, may displace or reabsorb teeth, may contain a tiny wisp-like residual bone arranged at right angles to another. That's what you guys called spider web, right? Large myxoma may show soap bubble appearance, may be confused with what? An ameloblastoma. All right? And this can have, you can curette it out, but you got to be a little careful doing that. All right, and we didn't get into the histology. That's a tough one for you. But I think you guys got that. Cementoblastoma?
That's easy.
That's easy.
Yeah.
That's it. Now, you may get confused when we talk about some of the other ones we're going to talk about tomorrow.
Yeah.
There can be some that work very similar. All right. So you'll have the test on this. She'll give you the test on this one, won't she?
Yes, she
Yeah.
will.
Oh yeah. In a couple
Yes,
weeks.
Yeah.
yes. She will do it that day. You won't come?
I won't be here.
Why? Was
You
Thanksgiving?
saw enough of my face.
I can drive there, pick you up, and then come back. Do you want to do that?
We'll pick you up.
You come pick me up.
We'll go take the exam at your house. Can we actually do that?
Now, let's look at something here. She did have a lecture we haven't looked at. Her lecture on odontogenic tumors. Okay, I forgot about that.
Oh, her pictures?
You guys aren't reminding me. Let's go through that quickly. And you don't have to study much for that then. You don't know all this.
It's not about a study. We study, but when I see the pictures,
Yeah, I
I
know.
confuse them. That means mix them.
So, here we go. We want odontogenic tumor. Where do you see odontogenic tumor? Right here. Okay. So, here is a dentigerous cyst and a meloblastic fibroma. Look the same, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And nomatoid odontogenic tumor and a dentigerous cyst look the same, don't they?
Yes.
But one has that where it
More
ends.
down.
where it
Yeah,
ends.
more
See the
down.
difference? See the difference? This one goes below.
Oh
This
yeah.
one ends right at.
Yeah.
But so they're very similar. A meloblastic fibroma here, and here is a unicystic ameloblastoma. They're both associated with an impacted tooth. This is a good series she put in. Here is a residual cyst. We're going to talk about it. Here's a unicystic ameloblastoma. But one thing I would say, you won't get this consistent. Why wouldn't this on the right be a residual cyst? Why?
Because it's
No
touching-
tooth missing.
Yeah.
Residual cyst is only would be a radicular cyst that's left behind after the tooth is extracted.
Oh.
Here is a buccal bifurcation cyst. Boy, that's a hard. That one, I would be surprised on that one. And here's an ameloblastic fibroma. Yeah, young person, and this is young, and because look, still has primary teeth, and it looks like a radiolucency around it. But this would be a tough one. We're going to talk about buccal bifurcation cyst in our next half hour. Here's unilocular, or ameloblastoma, and odontogenic myxoma. Yeah, look, this is spider web, so is that spider web.
Yeah, then.
So they can look the same. Here's a meloblastic fibroma. Can look like a dentigerous ameloblastoma to me. Here's odontogenic keratocyst. It can look like a ameloblastoma. not a dentigerous cyst, because dentigerous cysts are usually not multilocular. Here's odontogenic keratocyst, and here is a odontogenic keratocyst. This is the infiltrated melanoblastoma. See, you can tell, it's hard to tell the difference. Mixed radiopaque. Here's a complex odontoma. Look, a narrow rim. Here's a complex. Here's another complex odontoma. This one's a little harder. Here's calcifying epithelial tumor. Now you're learning this about the only picture we have of that.
Yes. Yeah.
Here's another one. Oh, here's another one.
This is
So, well, that's a tough one. But is, you know, but here's the opaque mass in it. So both of those are that. So here's complex odontoma with cystic change. Ooh, I would never know that one. That's a tough one. Here's a compound. You have no problem with that. We looked at that in our
Yes.
file.
Mhm.
Cementoblastoma. Calcifying epithelial odontoma. Yeah, here's calcification in it.
Mhm.
That's not an easy one too. That would be a tough one. Compound odontoma. Calcifying odontogenic cyst. That looks like a, in some way that looks like a odontoma in a way, doesn't it? But too much radiolucency. Complex odontoma. Cementoblastoma. That's not a good cementoblastoma. I don't like that one at all. Melanoblastoma. I know that's a melanoblastoma. Calcifying epithelial odontogenic tumor. See, what are you learning? You're learning you really can't tell the difference on these, can you?
Yes.
No.
That's why I don't like Norpac.
Don't say you don't like Norpac.
I don't like
We
it at
do.
all.
I drive
That's
14
a
hours and you tell me you
nightmare.
don't even want me here?
No, not you. This course. It's different. This
Gosh.
course is bad.
I'm gonna
Never
go-
had this
I'm going to
much.
go home feeling bad.
No. Goodness.
Sarah doesn't like me.
I like you. I don't like Orapac.
Man, Sarah. We're going to send you back to your boyfriend. And then you'll be happy.
No. He's not a good one.
You're not a good one?
No, he's nagging all the time.
Well, you better find another one then.
No, it's too late. I'm too
No,
old to do
fine.
that stuff.
Find one of these American boys.
Goodness.
Brian will help you. He's got buddies.
Yeah.
Huh? He's got friends who would like a nice Iranian girl.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Or Heidi has some friends too.
Awesome.
It's better.
We can do an auction. We can like TV program. Bring all these boys in and you know what is that? What's
That's
the name of that
awesome.
TV where they all choose a?
Blind date.
boy,
or
what
something.
is it called?
Yeah, I forget what it's called.
There's so many shows like that.
Is there?
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
so many. It's
Yeah.
so, yeah, they're crazy.
Mhm.
So we need to study
Forward.
what? What's the quiz? What is the test tomorrow on? Okay, soft tissue. You can do that. Pulp and periapical, but we never got through jaw cysts like we should have. Okay. We did. How far did we get
Jaw cyst.
on
see.
cysts?
Okay, jaw cyst. We go forward till they finish the lateral one. Okay, so we're on the fourth one. It's gingival cyst of adult.
We did the gingival cyst. That's where we ended.
Yes, we ended on a fourth one. I
Okay.
have note on that one. Forward, I don't have
Okay.
any
All
note.
right.
Yes.
Okay. So we talked about dentigerous cyst, right?
Mhm.
We did that. We talked about odontogenic keratocyst. Okay. Now now they can be unilocular or multilocular, and they can be. That's a tough one because they can look like some of these things we talked about too.
Today, yeah.
Yeah, very much. Often, if you look in the notes, often posterior mandible. They are always radiolucent though. all right? And they can be filled with keratin. Remember I told you about these things? Sometimes when you cut into them, they have a bad smell to them because it's a keratin. They're filled with keratin, all right? So, gingival cysts of adult, did we see one of those? Okay, here's the gingival cyst of an adult. They are only in,
Anterior?
they're usually in the bicuspid region. They're not in bone, all right?
Okay.
And what it is, it probably comes from remnants of the dental lamina, all right?
So the bump is hard.
It's soft.
It's
It's fluid.
soft.
You could press a Explorer in there, and thick fluid would come out.
Oh, okay.
This is the gingival counterpart of what other bony lesion that comes from dental lamina.
Lateral periodontal cyst?
The what?
Lateral
Lateral
periodontal cyst.
periodontal cyst. These two are related. Yes. This is the soft tissue one, and the lateral periodontal cyst is the bony part. Okay. Here's the lateral periodontal cyst. See? Located in between, often bicuspids. All right? It's classic for lateral periodontal cyst. Comes from the dental lamina. And most of them are in the lower area, but here's one can be in the maxilla. See that?
Okay.
Here's another one. Look, here's the lateral periodontal cyst. What happened in this case? Look at the x-ray and tell me what the dentist did wrong.
The crown?
The endo.
He did endo before he
Yeah.
even tested vitality of teeth, I will bet. He saw this radiolucent so he thought the teeth were non-vital. He just went in and did endo. When both teeth were vital, most likely, I'm guessing. But he never tested them. This was a lateral periodontal cyst. A lateral periodontal cyst, it has to do with the pulp. I mean, the pulp's normal on these.
So he should
He
pull them out?
No, he should have not done the endo. He should have just
Let them
curetted
go?
the cyst out. Yeah,
Oh, the
curetted
cyst out. Oh,
He
got
did an
it.
endo that he didn't need to do.
Oh.
Now this is a rough one, calcified odontogenic cyst, and this is similar to the calcified odontogenic, calcified epithelial odontogenic tumor. Really hard to tell the difference between these two.
Calcifying odontogenic cyst.
Calcified odontogenic cyst is similar to the calcified epithelial odontogenic tumor.
Yeah.
Yes, really similar. Yep. You're going to have a hard time with that one. Calcified odontogenic cyst.
Oh.
Okay, and some of that, it's uncommon, only 1% of odontogenic cysts, just like what? Calcified epithelial odontogenic tumor was only 1% of all tumors. Site, maxilla, mandible, equal in both. 65% of the cases are anterior. So here's one that's more in the anterior, all right? So calcified odontogenic cyst is more in the anterior, where a calcified epithelial odontogenic tumor is usually in the posterior region. Age, same as in a meloblastoma, may be associated with odontoma. Don't worry about that. They're never going to ask you. It can be unilocular or multilocular. Now, here's one case. Radiopaque structures in it. This one has radiopaque structure. So we're looking at this. Could this also be a calcified epithelial odontogenic tumor?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So now you're learning the differential diagnosis. They're both somewhat aggressive. Treatment, simple prognosis is good. A better prognosis than the calcified epithelial odontogenic tumor. Let's see if we can look at some others. Here's another one. Okay, here's one. And look, this one does have calcification in it. See that?
It's not a lateral one?
right there. This, you would think a lateral periodontal cyst,
Right.
the lateral periodontal cyst would not have calcification.
Got
Yep. Here's another one here, look. Could this be a calcified epithelial odontogenic tumor? Yes, this is on a dentulous ridge. Yes. You only know the difference by what?
Histology.
Histology. The only way you know. Here's another one on a patient. There's a mass, like a big mass on the ridge, and then here's the tumor right here on the ridge. You didn't have this one. Glandular tumor in this. Okay. Peridental. What is a peridental or buccal bifurcation cyst? The same name for both. The buccal bifurcation. Okay. What happens on these things? These are associated with teeth that show enamel extensions into the bifurcation. What happens? It's usually on a molar. It has kind of a area on the buccal that is the enamel extension, and this predisposes to a pocket. It's like a big piece of cactus on the buccal of a molar. All right? And so this causes irritation, and it forms a pocket. And when the tooth erupts, you may see like a follicle around it. So here's an example of one right here. And I've seen bilateral ones. It's not really a true cyst. All right? Usually young kids, 5 to 13, occurs on the buccal of a partially erupted maxillary third molar with a history of pericarditis. So a lot of times it's on the second or third molar. All right? Well circumcised unilocular radiolucency. That's hard. That's a hard one. Man, that's not an easy one. Peridental or buccal bifurcation. There's different names for it. So the name tells you what it is. Buccal bifurcation. I should have to give you a history on this, because that is not easy. Okay, let's look at the next one, which is easy. That is she didn't talk about it. Nasal palatine, is that right? Okay. Nasal palatine duct or incisive canal duct cyst. What happens? You have a canal that the incisive nerve came out the lingual, and that canal was an epithelial lined canal within the bone. Well, if that epithelium didn't go away, you always have remnants of epithelium. Anytime you have remnants of epithelium, you always have the possibility of a cyst.
Yeah.
So the characteristic about this one, usually age around 40, not young people, because it takes years to form, it's between the roots of two centrals, because it's right where the incisive canal is. It's a cyst in the incisive canal. All right? So it's usually a radiolucency like this or a heart-shaped radiolucency. Sometimes you can see swelling on the lingual part of it. This is classic. If you showed me this, first thing I'd want to know, I'd want to know if the teeth are vital. I'd want to know that first.
So the teeth have to be vital.
Teeth have to be vital. That's a good point.
Okay.
Yep, they have to be.
Okay.
Yep. You check the vitality. Because if this radiolucency was right near the apex of the tooth, this could be a dental granuloma or an apical cyst. Right?
Yeah.
So you got to test the vitality on that. What else can we say about these? Common is fourth decade, like I said, 40, 50 years of age, mainly males. Cyst doesn't get much larger than a centimeter. In fact, what they say, if that cyst is smaller than 6 millimeters, it's probably just an enlarged canal. So if this cyst was less than 6 millimeters diameter, we wouldn't do anything. But if it's larger than 6 millimeters, it's probably a cyst. Although she didn't put 6 millimeters here.
No.
Oh, yes, she is.
Yes?
Yeah, it is. Yep. It is.
Radiographic features.
Yes, here.
Yep. Yeah, so you would measure it, and if you wasn't sure, you would watch it. All right. Now they can get huge. Look at this one here. And this one actually caused some swelling here. And one thing about these cysts, when you remove them, they have nerve tissue in them and stuff like that too, because this is from the psyche nerve. All right. Any questions about that one? Easy. Between the centrals. Pear shape
The incisive
or
is
heart
in
shape.
between.
Yeah.
And then the nasal is like.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
In between. Got it.
So the next one is simple bone. What's the simple bone cyst? You tell me.
Simple bone.
A cyst of the simple
It's
bone?
like it looks like they're floating.
Yes. Right. And what age group?
I'm guessing the older population.
No, it's younger.
Younger population.
Okay.
And why is that?
Why does it form?
Regarding eruption too? No?
Where are most of them located?
Mandible?
Mandibular molar
Posterior.
area.
Yeah.
And one characteristic, that the radiolucency goes up between the roots of the teeth. So what is inside of a simple bone cyst? What is in that space? What is in that radiolucency? Let's find one.
I don't know. Is it due because of trauma?
Fluid?
Okay, here's one. Classic. You will see this. If she's going to show you a picture, you'll see this picture.
Simple bone cyst.
It goes around the root?
It goes around the roots. So what's inside of that space? Nothing. It's a space. It's not epithelial line. What's wrong with the name?
It says it's a cyst.
It says it's a cyst, and it's not a cyst. A cyst has to be epithelial line.
So why is it called a cyst? Just
That's what they thought.
Because it looked like a cyst. In fact, what does she call it?
She calls it, I think it's a
She did call it a cyst. But let's see if in her notes if she changed that. Simple bone cyst or traumatic bone cyst. And here's the name where a traumatic bone cyst is. And she even says pseudocyst. It's a pseudocyst, not a cyst.
Oh, pseudo means
Okay,
something.
it's an empty cyst or it contains fluid. What they think causes it? They think it's like a hematoma in the bone. And for some reason, you get a hematoma, you get an area of blood, and it destroys the bone.
Yeah.
And some of these will go away on their own, but if you curette it into that, it's an empty space. It's not epithelial line. It's not a true cyst. All right?
Okay.
But this is so characteristic. Both pictures are characteristic. They're young people, and the treatment, all the treatment for them, you go in one, you kind of curette it a little bit, you get blood to flow in it, and it disappears.
So you have to have blood to go in.
You want blood to go in. Someone will go away. Once in a while, they're even bilateral.
Yeah.
I don't know if she mentions that here. Usually there's no jaw swelling. These don't have swelling. Age is, again, young 20s, 30s, 15, that age group.
The young people.
Unilocular, maybe multilocular, that's kind of rare. Dome-like projections that scallop up between the roots of the teeth, that's under radiographic features. You need to underline. That's so characteristic, right? And the adjacent teeth are vital. First thing you want to do in a case like this is check the vitality of the teeth. Yeah.
And what happens if it's not vital?
Well, then you would think of something else going on. It'd be hard if one tooth wasn't vital. You know, could you have a apical cyst, a radicular cyst if that's large? I don't know. I've seen one that large, but not real common. Yeah. So any other questions about that one? There's only a few characteristics about it.
Yeah. Are we gonna get this PowerPoint so we can?
You know, I don't know if this one, I think I put a better one on this thing.
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna go through while he's in class and knock the ones off that you're not even talking about.
Okay.
Okay, in a minute, I'll show you the PowerPoint.
Cool.
Okay, the last one, Staphy's bone cyst. Oh, here's more. Here's a simple bone cyst in the anterior.
That one's a good one.
Here is a bilateral one. Okay, here is a linguomandibular salivary gland depression, which is a Staphy's bone cyst. And the other name, I don't like Staphy's bone. Well, she called it Staphy's bone defect. That's fine. It's a defect, not a cyst. Okay. So, linguomandibular salivary gland depression. What does that tell you? What this thing? Couple characteristics about this one. So easy to tell. What happens on the inside? What salivary gland do you have in there? Submandibular. So during development, for some reason, the gland pushes in on the lingual surface of the bone, and it makes a concavity in the bone. All right? So it's filled with salivary gland, but it's below the mylohyoid nerve, or inferior alveolar nerve. So it's down near the base, like you see right here. Teeth are vital, all right? Or like you see here. Now look at this one. Here shows you, right here, shows you that depression. See that? If you took an x-ray of that, see that depression right there?
Yeah.
It's going to look like a cyst, but it's just a concavity. It's a depression. And that's what the name says. Linguomandibular salivary gland depression, or Staphy's bone defect. No treatment is needed.
Yes, no treatment.
Yeah. You don't need to go in there. And it says no, see where it says no treatment?
Yes.
See, and you would find it, you could find this depression on a CT, cone beam CT. That's all you would have to do. That one's so easy. Yeah. She never gave you aneurysmal bone cyst, did you?
No.
No. We didn't have this.
Okay, here we go. This was one of my patients, on a 14-year-old girl.
Wasn't this on the quiz?
No.
No. It's a new one, I think.
Okay.
What
This
is that?
is your quiz for today.
Okay. 14-year-old.
14-year-old.
Okay.
No symptoms.
Okay.
Took a routine x-ray.
It's AOT.
I would say
Oh, that's
AOC?
AOT. Odonto.
AOC is the gal in the,
What is
that's what I was talking about on the news all the time.
it? No.
it'll be the uni.
Okay, AOT. You said AOT.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
I grant you. All right? Great guess. What else?
Ameloblastoma.
That was my first differential diagnosis.
Ameloblastoma, but
Unicystic ameloblastoma?
Yes.
Yes. Why? You have root resorption? Okay. Good.
what else?
It doesn't go below the CJ.
Doesn't go below C, but that's okay.
Okay.
Right. So you said AOT. You said what?
Uni.
Ameloblastoma.
Okay. But you're missing maybe the most obvious one. Yeah.
Pacify? No.
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 Something else.
You got impacted tooth or radiolucency around the crown. You got to think of what?
Dentigerous.
Dentigerous cyst.
Yeah,
Dentigerous cyst.
So we got, okay.
Dentigerous
So we got
cyst is
three good
everywhere.
ones there.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
Dentigerous
Well,
cyst.
this is something that's neither of those, but it's a great slide. I love it because it could be, it is,
Three of them.
something you guys never had is perifollicular fibrosis. It's a hyperplastic follicle. Remember when a tooth erupts, it has a follicle around it?
Yeah.
Well, this ended up being a hyperplastic follicle, which you had no idea what it was, but it makes a great quiz question. I mean, this is, and you guys hit it right on the nose. Yeah.
Will you still give it to us if we put those three things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either of those three things. Yeah. I had no idea that perifollicular fibrosis. I don't know if they ever talked about that. That happens in the third molar too.
Yeah.
Sometimes, in impacted tooth, you see a radiolucency around the crown.
Yeah.
But if you have a radiolucency that's a little bigger than normal, eh, and sometimes it's not a true cyst,
It's a bug on there.
a bug, oh, it flew. And,
Sarah's fine.
What
And-
happened?
It's on her hair.
Goodness. Go away, buddy.
well, that'd be nice to know.
Doesn't do anything.
So, yeah, perifollicular fibrosis, just a hyperplastic follicle, and you see that every once in a while. Sometimes it can look like a dentigerous cyst, but it's not. Just the follicle is bigger than normal. Yeah. Yeah. Wow, we got, so you need to study, remember, tomorrow, your test is on,
Everything.
yeah, soft tissue, cysts,
And we have a pre-quiz?
and,
Yes, we have
jaw
a quiz
cyst
too.
and pulp and periapical, like dental granuloma,
Oh.
radicular cyst,
Okay.
what else was on, in that handout? Here it is, pulp and, here, a chronic, here, this one here, chronic hyperplastic pulpitis, all those. Apical periodontitis, chronic, or dental granuloma, radicular cyst, condensing osteitis, remember condensing osteitis?
Yes.
Remember that one too. Not too many, there's only about 3 or 4 there.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, tomorrow we have, and you have to study for, do you have a quiz on jaw lesions tomorrow, I mean on bony lesions tomorrow?
Yes, pre-bone disease of
Wow.
jaw.
Yeah, that's a long handout, and
Awesome.
that's a tough one.
That patient in the morning?
I don't.
I do. Goodness.
Oh, wow.
I do.
So bony lesions, yeah, some of these are, well, some are, yeah,
I
that's
gotta treat
this is a long
20
handout.
clinic this quarter.
Wow. 20.
20.
Jeez.
So tomorrow is a tough day for you. And we're cut off in an hour too, right?
Say why.
What?
So if we could start a little earlier, can you guys, what you guys,
Oh, I have patience.
Yeah.
You have patience here?
so what time do you get through with your patient?
Probably because he's just a prophy.
Mine, I have no idea. It's a new one. But I'm gonna be done 12:30 for sure.
You'll be done by 12:30?
Yes. Yeah. One is the latest one. Means if
You
the
can
patient.
work till 1?
Yes.
Alright,
If your patient is still worse,
okay.
that means they're gonna
So
dismiss
you guys,
them.
if you are, I'll be here at 12:30, so
Okay.
we could start going through things at 12:30 for those who get here. How's
Okay.
that?
Okay.
Because we are cut off an hour tomorrow.
Right.
Because she said time-wise tomorrow, 1 to 3.
Oh.
Hey, why? Just us?
Well, the sun goes down
Oh.
there. 3, 4,
So-
well, we can go to 3:30.
Yeah.
We don't have to
Yeah.
quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't
3:30
have
is
to quit.
fine.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, sundown's not till
it gets
5.
dark at 5,
Yeah,
not 4.
yeah. Yeah.
So-
we can go longer.
So we're not allowed to be here when it's dark?
No.
But we were there yesterday. We left 6.
I think it's because it's the Sabbath.
Yes, it's because
Yeah.
it's a Sabbath.
What is that?
Like,
What is it, even in this school, anyone know what the Sabbath is?
it's like when they go to church.
They haven't made an Adventist out of you yet?
I'm not an Adventist.
Well, I'm sure they're gonna make one before you leave.
Awesome. I'm in trouble.
You wanna graduate, don't you?
Yes. Almost.
Yeah. Cool. So I'll be back during our break?
Yeah, I'm gonna go through this.
Yes, you
Okay.
do.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
And I'll give you that. I'm gonna take out the,
Some parts of the slides.
take that out. Yeah, we transferred that over.
Okay.
Let me look at what we're gonna take out here. Why do they make you do this all the time? You can take, it never hurts to pull these things out without doing that, right? I don't understand.
yeah. Doesn't really do anything.
Okay, here, so this should pop up, let's see.
They still miss you.
So
an
here,
assignment.
we put on
Yeah.
what, we put,
Yeah.
Last
we
night,
put, oh,
3
review of
o'clock.
bony lesions, that's when we
Oh
put.
my goodness.
3 a.m.
Okay, oh, you got cysts and stuff on that? Look.
Yay.
Oh, is this what we're going over tomorrow? No.
Yeah,
No,
Today.
today we did that.
Today.
so I'm gonna take the things away, and you got bony stuff on here too, idiopathic. Yeah,
We should probably
I'm gonna take the stuff off that you don't need, you got osteosarcoma and stuff. Alright. So I'll just take the off that you don't need, just leave your one sheet, I'll do that right now. Alright,
Alrighty.
and then I have to
Thank you
work
so much.
Sundays.
Okay, that should be fun.
Yeah. You wanna do it for me?
I'll do like one part and be like, okay, this is what I'm good
To
at.
keep your attention for 6 hours.
Oh wow,
I
6
seriously-
hours.
I think I tell a lot of stories, so it keeps them,
Yeah, awake.
yeah, awake and,
They told
I
us
tell
that
funny-
to tell you about your house, something about you building your house or something like
Built,
that.
no, I'm selling my house.
Oh yeah, and they said that it was like really cool looking.
Yeah, it's an old 100-year-old house.
Wow.
Where is it?
Way up in Eureka, which is the other end of California. It's one I was
You
raised
need
in.
to show us pictures and stuff.
Who did?
You need to show
Oh.
us pictures.
Do your house
Next
is
time.
cool?
Yeah, actually, my family home, my grandfather built, it was the ranch house.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you have horse there?
I'll show you pictures tomorrow, yeah.
I have a quick question.
Do I have what?
Horse, horsey. Horsey.
No, cows. My dad was a
Cows.
dairyman.
Got it. Okay. I have a quick question. So, how many days after endo it is normal to have pain?
A lot of pain?
Kind of. That every 6 hours you need to have ibuprofen 800. I'm doing that for at least it's a week, but I'm still hurting.
Usually.
It's abnormal. It's normal.
Yeah, usually a week it's gone.
It's gone.
In most cases, you don't have any pain. Maybe
Oh.
Real problems that we can influence. Like looking for but also knowing that you can only bring so many patients.
92% of our worries are needless. Not only is worry irrelevant, worry is irreverent, distrusting God. Worry is an option, not an assignment. God can lead you into a worry-free world. Be quick to pray. Focus less on the problems ahead and more on the victories behind. Do your part, and God will do His. He will guard your heart with His peace, a peace that passes understanding. And I love this verse. I've read it 1,000 times in my life, I'm sure.